You walk into a cafe you've never visited before. The tables are unfamiliar, the menu is new, the barista is a stranger. But then something shifts. You glance at the corner booth, and you already know the red napkin holder is on the left side of the table. You already know the chalkboard menu behind the counter reads, oat milk latte, $5.50. You feel, with absolute certainty, that you have been here before. You haven't. This is déjà vu, and your brain is doing something far stranger than remembering the past. The phrase comes from French. It means already seen. Almost everyone has experienced it at least once. Surveys consistently show that between 60 and 70% of people report having felt it. A strange flicker of recognition that arrives without explanation and dissolves almost as quickly as it comes. For decades, scientists dismissed it as a quirk, a meaningless glitch, a brain fart. But they were wrong. In the 1930s and 40s, a neurosurgeon named Wilder Penfield was performing brain surgery on fully awake patients at the Montreal Neurological Institute. He was mapping the brain's electrical activity by applying small electrodes directly to the surface of the temporal lobe, the region just behind your ear responsible for memory formation and recognition. When Penfield stimulated one specific area, something unexpected happened. Patients didn't simply recall a memory. They suddenly felt they were reliving a moment. They described the exact sensation of déjà vu, the overwhelming certainty that the present moment had happened before, even though it clearly hadn't. Penfield had accidentally revealed something profound. Déjà vu wasn't mystical, it was electrical. It was the product of a specific brain region firing in a specific way. But what exactly was going wrong in that moment? Why would your brain deliberately make you feel something that isn't true? Here's what you need to understand about your brain before any of this makes sense. Your brain is a prediction machine. Every second of every day, it takes in raw sensory data, shapes, sounds, smells, spatial relationships, and compares them against your stored memories. It does this before you're consciously aware of what you're seeing. This process is called pattern matching. Your brain is essentially asking, on repeat, have I seen something like this before? Most of the time, the system works beautifully. You walk into your own kitchen. Your brain matches the scene to stored memories. Familiar, safe, no alarm. But sometimes the system misfires. In 2008, cognitive psychologist Anne Cleary at Colorado State University designed a series of experiments that cracked open what might actually happen during déjà vu. She created virtual environments that shared spatial layouts with environments participants had already seen, but with entirely different objects and surfaces. So the room had the same arrangement, the same geometry, the same proportions. But everything in it looked different. The walls were a different color. The furniture was in a different style. The result was striking. Participants reported powerful feelings of familiarity. They felt they had been in those rooms before. But when Cleary asked them to identify exactly when or where they had experienced them, they couldn't. The feeling was vivid. The memory behind it was absent. Cleary called this phenomenon familiarity without recollection. Your brain detects that something matches a stored pattern. It sends you a powerful signal. You've been here. But when your conscious mind searches for the actual memory, the specific time, the specific place, the specific context, it finds nothing. There's a match in the system, but no retrieval. And that gap between recognition and recollection is exactly what creates the eerie feeling of déjà vu. Think of it this way. Your brain has a library with millions of books. Each book is a memory. When you walk into a new place, your brain rapidly scans the shelves for a match. Most of the time, it either finds the exact book or finds nothing at all. But occasionally, the spine of a new book looks almost identical to an old one. Your brain pulls it off the shelf, certain it's a match. Then it opens the book and finds blank pages. That moment, the moment between reaching for the book and realizing it's empty, that's déjà vu. But there's a twist that changes everything about how you understand this experience. In 2016, neuroscientist Akira O'Connor at the University of St. Andrews designed an experiment that overturned decades of assumption. He used hypnotic suggestion to trigger déjà vu in participants while they were inside functional brain scanners. What he found surprised everyone. The brain regions most active during déjà vu were not in the hippocampus or the memory retrieval areas at all. They were in the prefrontal cortex, the front of your brain, just behind your forehead. This is the region responsible for decision-making, conflict monitoring, and error detection. O'Connor proposed something radical. Déjà vu is not a memory error, it's a memory correction. Your brain's pattern matching system flags a false match. It says, "This feels familiar." And then your prefrontal cortex steps in and says, "Wait, check again. This doesn't actually match anything in your records." Déjà vu is your brain catching its own mistake in real time. It's not a malfunction, it's a system check. And this reframing has a remarkable implication. The people who experience déjà vu more frequently aren't having more brain glitches. They may actually have more efficient monitoring systems. Their brains are better at catching false matches before those matches turn into false beliefs. But there's still another layer that most people never consider. Your brain processes sensory information through two parallel streams. One stream travels quickly through the thalamus, the brain's central relay station, and arrives at the cortex almost instantly. This gives you a raw, unprocessed snapshot of what's in front of you. The second stream takes a slightly longer route through the amygdala and the hippocampus, where information gets tagged with emotional weight and contextual memory. This stream is slower, but richer. It tells you not just what you're seeing, but whether it matters. Normally, both streams arrive in perfect sync. You see the cafe, you recognize it as new, everything lines up. But occasionally, there's a split-second delay. One stream arrives a fraction of a moment before the other. And in that tiny gap, your brain receives the raw sensory data through one channel before the contextual correction arrives through the second channel. So for one brief instant, your brain registers the scene as familiar because the raw data has already been processed before the contextual system arrives and corrects it. No, this is the first time. That fraction of a second gap between the two processing streams is what some researchers believe is the physical origin of the déjà vu feeling. Your brain isn't remembering the past. It's processing the present twice, and you're standing in the overlap. This also explains something researchers have noticed for years. Déjà vu happens more often when you're tired, stressed, or in an unfamiliar environment. When your brain is under strain, those two processing streams are more likely to fall slightly out of sync. The more fatigued you are, the more vulnerable the system becomes to that tiny temporal gap. And here's something even more interesting. People between the ages of 15 and 25 report déjà vu more frequently than any other age group. Some researchers believe this is because the brain's processing efficiency is still developing during those years. The monitoring system hasn't fully calibrated. False matches happen more often, and the correction signal fires more vividly. As you age, déjà vu decreases. Your brain gets better at keeping its two streams synchronized. The error checking becomes more seamless. The system tightens. But déjà vu never fully disappears. Because no matter how efficient your brain becomes, it's running the same fundamental operation every second of every day. Take raw data, compare it to stored patterns, decide, familiar or new. And sometimes, inevitably, the comparison produces a false hit. The library shelves get crossed. The spine looks right, but the pages are blank. What's remarkable is that your brain doesn't simply let that pass. It doesn't accept the false match and move on. It fires an alert. It creates that strange, unsettling feeling precisely because something is off. Your prefrontal cortex raises a flag. Something doesn't match. Pay attention. That discomfort you feel during déjà vu, it's not a flaw, it's a feature. It's your brain protecting you from believing something that isn't true. And this has implications that reach far beyond a cafe or a street corner. Because every single day, your brain is making thousands of pattern-matching decisions, recognizing faces, identifying voices, reading social situations, assessing whether someone is trustworthy, and every one of those decisions relies on the exact same system that produces déjà vu. Most of the time, the system is invisible. You don't notice it working. You walk through your day feeling confident that your perceptions are accurate, that your memories are reliable, that your sense of what's familiar and what's new is grounded in truth. But déjà vu is proof that the system can misfire. It's proof that familiarity itself can be manufactured by a split-second delay, by a geometric resemblance, by a pattern your brain almost recognizes but can't quite place. And if your brain can make you feel absolutely certain about something that never happened, even for just a few seconds, what else might it be getting wrong without ever telling you? You take a seat in the corner booth. The napkin holder is exactly where you thought it would be. The chalkboard menu reads exactly what you expected. But you have never been here before. Your brain just almost convinced you that you had.